NR2003 has been available to the public for almost 20 years now up to this point, and many people who have actually played NR2003 have messed around with these INI file types that are all over the NR2003 directory folder. However, many people don't actually know how to mess with the INI files as well as other people should. In today's video, I'm going to give some tips and some advice for track INIs, player INIs, and even some graphic INIs to help make your NR2003 look just slightly better. So let's go ahead and let's get started, shall we? On the left side of my screen right now, we have my NR2003 directory folder here. Inside of this, we're mainly just going to be going through two folders and a couple INI files that are listed just basically right here and here. So let's go ahead and we'll go with the player files. So if we go into players, this is where all your player info things will be stored at. Each and every single one of them will have their own specific folder. Click inside one of them, and then we have all these INI files and stuff like that. Got setups, of course, which save your setups for each of the tracks that you have installed. Seasons for when you actually have a season going on in championship mode, and save games when, if you've done qualifying, you can run this. You can save the qualifying results, and then there's a program that I use that actually allows me to edit the qualifying. That only happens sometimes though. But we're mainly just going to go to player.ini. Inside player.ini, we'll have this pop up on our screen. The main thing that we're really going to be looking at right now is aerodynamics. And if we look at this line right here that says employ roof flaps, if this is set to 1, roof flaps are effective. If it's set to 0, you got no roof flaps. What difference does this make? Well, this is just mainly pure for fun. If you want to do blowovers, it is really recommended to put this as 0, of course. If you don't want to blow over, or if you want to simulate, realistic racing from 93 upwards, then you would keep that as 1. Then you got auto chat messages, which of course you can edit in the game itself. Pretty much other than that, all this stuff down here could be edited through the game itself. So we're pretty much done with that. That's literally the only thing you'll need out of that one, more than likely. So let's go back and let's go down to track INI. This one is possibly the biggest out of every single one of these. Inside every single NR2003 track folder is a track.ini file. So if I open up just a random Daytona one real quick, you'll see that there's a bunch of different files. But the main thing is track INI. This right here is basically the best thing to ever grace NR2003. All this information and all this stuff is possibly the key thing to making your NR2003 experience better. So let's go ahead, let's go over a couple different notes. Chassis type. Chassis type right now is set to 1. I'll list up each and every one of the different ones, because there's 5 different options you could use this chassis type for. This mainly helps you out with your car. If you put this at a 5, you'll have a non-restrictor plate super speedway race, so you'll be going at about 210, 220 miles per hour. Depending on the track, concrete grip and asphalt grip and modifiers, or drag modifiers, excuse me. Scroll down a little bit of ways and you'll even see AI track. Now if you're making offline leagues, or if you're trying to make racing more entertaining for yourself in your NR2003 experience, this one is possibly the most difficult thing to edit, but once you actually get everything, once you learn all these tips and stuff like that, it helps out a lot. So let's go over a few of them that even I sometimes have a little bit of trouble with. So let's talk first off about AI acceleration and deceleration modifier. Acceleration modifier affects how well the tires grip as the AI accelerates. Basically, the more that this one is turned up, it is more grip, and the same thing goes with this one as well. The less, the more likely they lose grip, and they'll probably slide up the track, and they'll have a tight race car. Fuel use is pretty much fuel use. You know fuel use, grip modifier, how much they can stick onto the track. drag, the higher that is, the slower they go, which helps out a lot if the AI become unbeatable at like even the lowest of difficulties. Line modifier is possibly the most, as it says right here, dangerous one to edit. As you see right here, it's set to 1.011 for this Daytona track, which is 88, which I used in the first race of the Japanaholic Cup Series not too far away. This here, okay, is quite possibly the way to make your AI in your race more aggressive or less aggressive. Or basically, to put it shortly, stupid or not stupid, basically. The higher you set this number, the more aggressive the AI will run, and less likely they'll run the official line that every track has if you click R while in the race session. The lower this goes, the less likely they'll make a move on somebody, or the less likely they'll like take it side by side or whatever. The higher they'll go like 5 wide in a turn 1 on, you know, like lap 2 or whatever. If we scroll down just a little bit here, we have the pacing, bunching, and drafting distances. This one is pretty much self-explanatory. These numbers represent car links from the said car. If the drafting distance is set to less than 1.1, the AI are more likely going to be tandem drafting, if not running into each other a whole lot more than you probably wanted to. Combine that with the line modifier, and you'll probably get some pretty entertaining racing, while at the same time possibly some very weird crashes. Now, there's so much to go about in track IDI files, but I'll leave them just at that for now. Let's go ahead and let's talk about graphics. In your NR2003 directory folder, you will see a bunch of these IDI files, like for D3, D9, which is for DirectX, and then you go down here just a little bit a ways, and you'll see red.dxg .ini. You want to open up the red.dxg, and then if you set your things to this right here, especially the texture set size and the anisotropic level to these, you'll have a crisp and clear, at least a little bit more clearer look at your NR2003 once you load into your race weekend once more. I'll leave them on screen right now just in case if you need to open them up real quick. And you also want to open up the core.ini, because that's also quite important as well. Because if you go to the core and you scroll down just right here to file LRU cache and go to cache size and set, basically just have a high value of cache, you'll have a, it helps out with your, with being able to, you know, it says right here, bytes of dat file LRU cache size to allocate. And then if you go down to memory and set your max block size to 524 you'll be able to have more memory put into your game, so that way you'll also get more frame rate. That's what I've noticed about that. Pretty much other than that, you really don't need to mess around with the core.ini, because that's also like multiplayer kind of ish things there. Notice that on occasions, if NR2003 does end up like reconfiguring itself or whatever, where you see the black screen, where it ends up going like testing out its graphics update and stuff like that, do note that the reason why it does that is because it is resetting the red_dxg.ini file, and you'll have to go back into that and redo the step, redo that before. It's happened to me on several occasions, and sometimes it kind of annoys me because I'll end up running a few races, exiting the thing, and I'll enter it back in one time, and it's like, oh, it resets everything, so now I have to have to go back in and set my anisotropic level to 0, its texture set size to -1. And make sure that this -1 is a -1, because if it's, a positive one, you are going to have the pixie, you're just going to have terrible looking cars. I can't speak English. Another good use of graphics and stuff like that is something that I would look up called Reshade, which I'm not so sure if it's in my files in here or not, but I think it's right here. Yeah, or if you grab a Reshade and set that up and have it to where you play with shaders and stuff like that, you can make your NR look brighter and more clear. That's what I use as well. other ways to make your NR2003 experience a whole lot better is a little thing that I found quite a long time ago called UI enhancements. UI enhancements basically are self-explanatory. Whenever you're racing and you use the F keys, you'll actually be able to have like enhancements to help you out. You'll have these. If you find the layout.lyt files, you go and you paste them into your layout thing right here, where it says, you know, like full replay.lyt and stuff like that. Pretty much that's all I can really give off for tips and stuff like that. Just a few tips on how to make your NR2003 experience a little bit better. If you enjoyed this video, please go ahead and click that like button and subscribe for more gaming content, including NASCAR Thunder 2004 and so on and so forth. My name is Taylor, the certified Gamerholic and Japanaholic, and I will see y'all in the next video, whatever that may be that you decide to watch. Have a good day, everybody.